We are live.
We are live.
What's going on, guys? I'm Jeremy.
I'm Macy.
We are LSH Live. You forgot to introduce the horse.
I just gave up. I give up. He's never gonna follow the rules.
This is Dubs. We've been doing Dubs in the videos for the last couple of days. He is our all-around horse, aged horse, and a nervous horse, right? So we've had lots of questions about people asking about nervous horses and how we deal with them. For those of you who don't know who we are, we do training videos, helping you guys be better riders, helping your horses make the show pen, and just be more manageable, easier to ride, softer, supple, all the good stuff, right?
All the good things.
That helps you get to the show pen, helps you ride your horse if you didn't even want to go to the show pen. Just helps your horse be better for you guys.
Right.
So, we have some exciting news coming up. Not ready to announce it yet. If you guys noticed that I've been kind of going live, little lives here and there, playing around with some different platforms. Hopefully we'll get some of that worked out. Really excited about it though. We have a domain name. We literally have horsetraining.live.
Okay, I was confused. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's really like tech savvy, and I was like, okay, wait,
so
yay.
You guys will be able to.
Name. So what is that?
So you will be able to, in the near future, go to your web browsers, type in horsetraining.live, and it'll take you right to this.
Oh yeah, okay, yep.
So I'm really excited about that. That'll be really fun.
We were trying to think of names, like we had a lot of names.
We had a lot of ideas. But I think that's just going to be the simplest, plainest. Just tell people to go to horsetraining.live. Really explains what we're doing, right?
Right, it is.
Didn't
Basically, it's horse training and it's live.
And that's all of it.
It covers
all encompassing. Thank you so much for the feedback. You guys have been awesome. Your videos of your horses, the subscriptions on YouTube, the comments, your questions. We love it. It's been so much fun. It helps give me direction with what you guys want to see. Helps me figure out how we're going to get through this deal. Really, really fun. So we have the drawing.
Yeah, we have the drawing for because our giveaway ended today.
Giveaway ended today. So that was the one that you tagged a friend, shared the post. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. You guys showed up for that. We're like over 1,000. We're like
that's exciting.
1,050 or something like that. Like we're way up there. So that's really fun. So we're gonna do the giveaway right now.
How many names?
Oh.
A few. Quite a few.
Lot.
Yeah. Quite a few names.
And a whole hatful.
Don't lose them. Don't let them blow away. So drum roll, please, guys. We'll do a little drawing here.
I'm gonna pick it and then he's gonna read the name.
Perfect.
Are you ready?
Are you mixed up? I won't peek. You can't peek either. Dawn Ramiza, you are the lucky winner.
Yay!
Dawn, this is gonna be backwards for you, so
yeah,
that's
mirrored. I put your Instagram name in there, so
at DM Ramza.
If you're not on our live, we'll DM you.
Yes, we'll send you a message. Congratulations, you have won the free month subscription to our Patreon, the premium Patreon, and the video critique. So that's really fun. We're gonna do more of those. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more swag. We'll talk to some of our sponsors if you guys haven't checked them out.
We have something coming on April 25.
Yes, some merch.
I'll wear, or we got a large, so one of us will wear it. I like big things.
I'm sure we'll be able to. It's 70 degrees today.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to.
It's gonna snow next week.
It's gonna snow.
Love this state. Love this state. So we got some merch coming. If you guys haven't checked out our sponsors, we've got promo codes for you guys for Good Ride, LaRose 15, promo code for Holla Denim, LaRose 30, get you guys 15% off, 30% off Holla. Take advantage of them. Good Ride, love Good Ride stuff. They're awesome. So we got you guys the promo codes. Hey Christy, we miss you too.
How's Indy doing?
So, is that it? Is that housekeeping? We're up to date.
Oh, we have some sad news.
Oh, yes. So far. Well, kind of. I don't really know.
We don't really know.
So for those of you that breed, Katrina, if you're watching.
Or anyone who breeds.
I know Katrina breeds a lot.
Yeah, she does breed a lot.
So if you guys breed at home, what size follicle do you breed at? I don't know much about breeding personally. We had a couple babies when I was a kid. I don't know a lot about it personally.
I've never
had a baby.
Experience.
So I don't know what follicle you guys or your vets recommend, but Marley, I think, is not involved.
Well, they came yesterday and they checked her. I hope I'm pronouncing everything right. Is that like a good CL? Is
CL?
That what it is?
You guys know if I'm
I guess it looks good.
I wasn't here.
I guess it looked good, so then they're looking for embryo and they couldn't find one.
Yeah.
And then, so like she's not pregnant, but...
She's not pregnant, but like she might be pregnant, so she's like kind of pregnant. We don't really know. She's like sort of pregnant.
So she's coming Thursday to like see if it was just hiding. Like the embryo was just hiding. We don't know. So she's like kind of pregnant, but like But
we're gonna find out in a couple days. But if you guys have tips or advice for us in the breeding
we need some
department,
help. Yeah.
I don't know about that. So you guys can help me out. We're always trying to learn as much as we can, right?
Yeah, we need help with that department.
Don't breed much horses.
No.
Right? So yeah.
I think that's all the housekeeping that we have.
All right. So then today, what we're gonna talk about is tools of the trade, right? Using your feet, using your spurs. We talked a little bit about using your legs, which is gonna be different than using your spurs, right? So I mentioned it when I was riding him before, I think, in the horsemanship video about where your spurs should hit, where on his body you ought to be with your leg, but we didn't really talk about different types of spurs or the way spurs work, right? So I wanna make sure that you guys—
I can't read that one. It's too dark on my— do you have sunglasses on?
Corpus luteum. Yeah, that.
What is that?
Luteum, the CL that you mentioned.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
See,
that'd be my
thank
guess.
you,
See?
thank you.
Crowdsourcing.
Yeah, so
You guys are awesome. We're gonna go over spurs today, different types of spurs, the different tools that we use, because let me tell you guys, let me show you. Oh my.
we even got some on our feet.
Yep. This is a collection of spurs right here, okay? Good morning, Jojo. Hey, Mallory. So this is my spur collection that we ride our horses in, all right? So you don't have to have this many, but you are gonna want, just like I said with bits, right? So we keep our horses somewhere in the middle between all of these. So if I have a horse that is really dull, if I have a horse that's really bracy, I can change my spurs, put different equipment on. I want my horse to be in the middle, right? If I'm having to work too hard, there's no way I'm gonna get through 8 of these guys a day, right? If your horse is running away from your feet, you can't help him. So we wanna have as many different types of spurs as possible, at least one that's a dull set, a medium set, and a light set.
Light set.
As far as like where your horse is gonna go.
Right.
Morning, Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie.
Is that a Rose? Rose is in the chat. Look at that. Look at this hair. Did you see that hair right there? What is this? Oh no.
Oh no. See,
Quarantining.
I was trying, okay, so I'm trying to like help him by cutting his hair, but he will not let me.
You guys don't understand. Those of you who have met me know that I'm always—
So I grabbed
high
the
and tight.
clippers and I tried doing it last night and he got mad.
Well, because you didn't turn them on. So you just ripped out all this hair. I was like, okay, well, not if you want to pull my hair.
Well, I was trying to trick you.
And then I just felt bad for the halter horses and we pulled their manes. It just felt awful. It's like, well, that's what that feels like.
So tonight, I will cut his hair.
We'll see.
I will.
Nice. Anyway, so different types of spurs, right? We want to have a wide variety of spurs. So the things you want to understand about spurs, and we talked a little bit about it. Let me find my Colt set. The ones
I might, Bonnie.
So if you had to pick a couple different types of spurs, it's so bright out here, and then it's cloudy, and then it's bright, and it's cloudy, and it's bright. All right, so Macy, please don't roach him. Yeah, exactly. Should be roaching my mane. So right here, this is very basic Colt spur for you guys, okay? See how this shank comes up and then drops off for a very soft rowel, okay? This is very basic. This is how I start all of my babies, right here in this type of spur, okay? So what we wanna do is we wanna have the ability to have our horse sit on our shank. And that's one thing you'll notice about the majority of spurs that I bring out is they're all gonna have a drop to my spur. Because I wanna have a little bit of drop right here so that horse can sit right on that shank. We talked about that last time, so that I can use my rowel if I want to. Your number one mission with your babies is getting your horses to where you can just put your spurs on them. Just get your feet on. So like when you go to lope around, just closing your legs, getting that foot connected to your horse, let him sit on your spur. That's your number one mission. So you guys, your horses at home, just get to where you can hug your feet and just hold them. Don't do anything. I don't want my horse to do anything. I don't want him to react or move or anything like that in the very beginning. Just get him to where you can accept the pressure. Just sit on the pressure. And then we'll teach him to do things from there. So we can make a bad habit that we can fix later. The worst habit though is a horse that runs from your feet.
Right.
So you cannot have a horse that runs from your feet. If you want to get him to do anything on your legs, you cannot have him run from your feet. So I'll show you that again. Very basic Colt spur right there. Okay, that is it focused? I can't tell. Too dark. So I can't tell. So that's gonna be your number one spur. Okay. From there, I have the same.
These are my favorite.
Yes. Almost the same shank in a little bit sharper rowel. Okay. So again, see the drop. I'm setting my horse right here, sitting on the shank. That's gonna be for my really dull horses. Okay. This isn't that sharp. It's a lot of points, a lot of little points.
Yeah, it's not that sharp.
Yep. And this would be like my equivalent of a rock grinder, right? For horses that are super dull, right? So if I got a horse that leans on my foot, I'm gonna go to something like this to make it less comfortable to lean on.
Okay.
The biggest thing about that, it doesn't change the way I ride, okay? Because like if you're gonna worry about, oh, I don't wanna mark my horse up in this. If you have an ultra dull horse that you're trying to make do something and you are in a spur like this, you will cut his sides up,
Right.
okay? You will cut his sides up in this before you'll cut his sides up in this, all right? If you're using your legs the way we're teaching you how, and just applying pressure and getting him to not sit on the pressure, just move away from it. You're not grinding and digging your foot and attacking him with your leg,
I'll show them my favorite spurs.
right? Then you're gonna have good results switching back and forth, okay? And these are Macy's spurs that she loves to ride in.
These are my favorite. I love the rowel on them.
Yep, and this is very similar to my Colt spur, right? So you can see there, courtesy of Harris Leather. Right?
Got it for me for Christmas.
Yep. So that's Macy's actual signature. So courtesy of Harris Leather, they gave us these. Kind of the same thing, a little bit pokier rowel than what was on my Colt spurs.
I love these though.
But a really good balanced everyday riding spur right here, right? So,
I love it because they can like sit on the shank and then you can use your rowel if you need it.
yep.
I do love that.
The next one you're gonna want for your more dull horse, do I have it set out here?
Of what?
Clover leaves. I don't think I do.
Oh yeah, you do. Right. Oh no, you don't.
I don't.
Not out here.
Not here, I don't. Okay.
Well, he's not perfect.
I lied. Okay, so the next one you're gonna want, all right, is something like this, a little bit blockier. I don't have a clover leaf out here. I'm sure Bonnie has a set of clover leaves for Sophie, right? Because Sophie's super sensitive. I'm sure you have a set, Bonnie. So Bonnie, if you want to take a picture of yours and put it in the chat, you can do that. So having that clover leaf right there, a little bit duller spur.
These are nice too.
Yep, really nice. Again, see where this longer shank that drops off so I can have my horse sitting on my shank before I go to my rowel.
I think there's a trend here.
Alternatively, no rowel, okay? And that's not a joke, like you're laughing at me.
I know.
It's not because it fell off.
It fell off.
Okay, it fell off. But no rowel is actually pretty effective. So no rowel or vet wrapped.
No, I don't think so.
Vet wrap your rowels, all right? Vet wrap or tape your rowels. Very effective for getting a little bit more poke than maybe a ball spur, which I don't like riding in.
I don't like ball spurs.
But if I have a horse that really runs from my rowels, right, might go to something like this. The problem you're gonna run into is if you have something like this or a ball spur, you don't have any roll.
No, I think it's actually harder. Like this hurts more.
No, not if it's
Why?
taped.
Well, no, I'm talking about ball spurs.
I actually find that people make horses bracy in ball spurs, right?
I was gonna say, I think it's like
Because they don't use their legs effectively, right? So we're gonna talk about that and how people make their horses super dull in ball spurs and then they get upset about it, right? So remember what your equipment's trying to do, all right? If you are riding in a pair of spurs like this, I want my horse to be jumping away from my feet, all right? So same thing with like a thin twist or even a rubber snaffle, right? A thin twist, my horse should be over bridled. Do not teach your horse how to push on a thin twist. Do not teach your horse how to lean on this, or you're gonna have a heck of a time, right? There's nowhere else to go from this.
Right.
So if your horse is pushing and leaning all over a thin twist, there's nowhere else to go.
Like Marley would push all over your feet,
Yep.
so she needs something a little more like less comfortable to sit on.
Yep.
Because she loved to sit on your feet.
Yep. And like Marley would lean on these, like super
hard.
dull.
I would never go harder.
Tough-sided horse, right? Certain potential, a little bit of suck back in him, a little bit dull horse, right? But the biggest thing about that, like, and it's the same thing when you go to put a lighter set of spurs on. Let me grab a different set. If I had these on, I don't want to make my horse run from these. I don't want to make my horse lighten these, okay? So if I had a rubber snaffle in their mouth, don't over-bridle your horse in a rubber snaffle, right? If you're in a rubber snaffle, I want that horse straight out, leaning all over you, because I can fix that by going the other way with my equipment, all right? So a lot of people will get stuck with their one set of equipment and they'll be like, well, this is the one I want my horse soft on. So you guys are riding at home with a snaffle, right? Say it's a regular smooth snaffle and you're over bridling that horse in a smooth snaffle. That's not gonna be good for you, right? You're gonna lose a lot of contact through your horse. So that's why I ride with that middle of the road bit and spur, all right? So I'll show you, post the pic after, perfect, Monty. Yep.
These are probably like the longest shanks you have, right?
Yeah, that's a super long shank.
Yeah.
So that's why this spur, a decent middle of the road spur, because this is pretty pokey, but this is where my horse sits, right? That's my spur that I just took off my boot, all right? I love these Spurs, horse sitting on that shank right
Those
there.
are like your go-to.
These are my go-to, I love them. See how dirty they are on top, right? All the white hair up there, all the white dirt right there, where that horse sits on top of that shank, okay? So getting your horse to where they're riding in the middle is key, okay? So the first thing you want to evaluate, what does my horse's side like? What is the texture of his side? Is it like pushing against bone, or is it really soft and spongy? Is it really soft and spongy, okay? And you want to remember that texture, right? If it's really soft and spongy, then you're in good shape, right? That horse is relaxed to its sides, and you could probably go to something a little bit duller, right? If that side is bracy and tight and tense, you got to go to something softer, and you got to do more holding your foot.
Right.
So the number one goal you're going for when you ride your horse, and hopefully we've learned that through your feet and your hands lessons that we've done, is getting to where you can rub, roll, and mash your horse, all right? So those three terms, rub, roll, mash, that's what I want to do. Mash my spur, press my foot into him, not this, banging off there, all right? So rip, bang, and jerk, right?
That's quick.
Not what we're going for. Rub, mash, and roll, okay? Rub, mash, and roll with your feet. Rub, mash, roll with your hands, okay? Not rip, jerk, and poke. What did I say the first time?
I don't remember. I was trying to think of it.
Yeah, so.
Tear maybe?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
So getting your horse to where they're on your feet. So what I'm gonna do is I'll have Macy jump up here, and we'll have her leg, we'll adjust her stirrup length, we'll adjust her spur, her shank length, and her rowel to find a good length and stuff for this particular horse, for this rider combo, okay? All right, so I'll hold the stirrup. Hopefully Dub isn't too fresh.
Well, never been bucked off before, so this might be
That's right.
the day.
That's right. Okay, so go ahead and back him up here. We'll put him close to the camera.
Let me move away from the Spurs a little
Nope,
bit.
you're good.
Okay.
I'm
All right,
close.
can you come closer? Closer, closer, closer. We'll angle this down. That's the wrong way. Down. All right, so. Oh no. Big pet peeve of ours, make sure that your pant length is 4 inches longer than your normal length so that you don't end up riding in your flood pants, right? So for stylish purposes, 4 inches longer.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Trying to keep everybody looking good out here, right? So when I look at this horse's side and I look at where her spur hits, okay? Can you guys see where this spur wraps around this horse's body, all right? With this spur combination, right? And remember, it's the length of her leg from here to here, right, that we're talking about. I'll angle up just a little bit. The length of her leg from here to here that we're talking about. This has to match this, okay? The width of my horse's heart girth. If these two things are not matched up, right, then we're gonna have a disconnect when we go to our feet. The cool part about this, when we go to our spurs, you see how much calf is sitting on this horse first. She's got good contact all the way through her calf before her rowel is engaged, all right? When your rowel engages, we wanna have this connected to our horse. If your rowels or your shank is too long, I'll give you a longer shank. Where are my long ones? Right here. Okay, I see people riding like this, long shanks, right? If your shank is too long, what's gonna happen is you will not be able to get your leg on your horse, okay? Because it's gonna put your rowel on there before your calf can touch him, right? So she goes to her spur. This is,
I don't like that.
Rowel is engaged, right? Horse is on the shank and rowel, and she can't feel anything through here. There's air right there.
I don't like that at all.
So that feels like you're balancing on these 2 points right here against your horse's belly.
That's terrible.
I don't want that, right? We want to be able to come in and balance off this. I want my spur and everything sitting on the curvature of his belly, right? Curvature of his belly, so everything can wrap in and we get connected from here down. Because this gives her, remember we said, your horse is gonna be as light as the lightest piece that comes in first, right? As light as your initial ask. So when you're coming in here, initial ask is gonna be from here to here. Then you're gonna go to your lower leg, your heel, then you go to your shank, right? Horse sits on the shank, then she can toe down and bring her rowel up into her horse, all right? So it's that wrap from top to bottom and then angle down, okay? So that's what we want. That's what we want to have. So if you have short legs and a big horse, and you're not alone, right? Lots of people with short legs and a big horse.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is, and I see people do this, so this is as high up as these stirrups go. We're going to pinch Macy's leg up.
Oh boy.
Take your leg up. All right, so right here, we've pinched her leg up.
Ew.
So see the angle of her leg is what we're talking about. You see that different angle right there. So now she's pinched in the saddle. When she goes to her horse's side, people that ride in long shanks, now her leg is even further away because she's hitting higher up on the curvature of his belly, right? So remember, she's now hitting higher up the curve of his belly. So you actually need a shorter shank, okay? So remember that when we put a shorter shank on, say we put something like this on, a shorter shank is gonna allow her to ride with more effective leg. Because if she has a long shank on with short legs, it's gonna put her spur even further away from her horse. So if I had a horse or a rider whose leg hit in the middle of that horse's belly, I'm gonna put a shorter shank on. Do you feel that horse in your calf now?
Yeah.
So when you change the shank out and go from a long to a short shank, it brings your leg that was sitting out here, right? Here's the curvature of my horse's belly right here. It was sitting like this, now it's sitting like this. And now she's gonna start feeling that horse in her upper leg, in her calf up here.
Yeah, I can feel it.
All right, do you feel that?
Yeah.
So changing that rider's shank and spur out. So if her leg, if she was on the shortest hole with her stirrup length, with her leg length, on a horse that had this heart girth, I would put a shorter shank on. Notice how that's still a drop shank, all right? Because I can still get underneath, and that should feel very similar to the spurs you had on with the longer stirrup.
Yeah, it does.
Yep, so that's gonna be just the same as when she had the longer stirrup and a little bit longer shank with the drop, all right? So that fixes a lot of your problems, where now, instead of inadvertently spurring your horse a lot, you're gonna have to consciously come in, make contact through your upper leg, then your heel, then your shank, then your rowel, in that order, all right? Upper leg, heel, shank, rowel, all right? Get your horse and riding in that order. So when you wrap in, when you go to your legs, upper leg, calf, heel, shank, rowel, all right? That's that pry action, all right? So when she goes to her feet, she's always gonna come out, swoop in, pull up, okay? Come out, swoop in, swoop under, pull up, all right? And leverage that horse up. So, flip the scenario to an adult riding a medium pony. Do you need a longer shank? Yes. So if you are longer, say Macy was riding on someone who is like 6'4", their stirrup length, you'll run into the opposite problem, right? So now,
Bend down a little bit.
she has tons of effective calf.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love that, right?
I can't
Tons
get
of
my
effective
spur
calf.
on.
What's that?
I can't get my spur on.
So now she's gonna find that she has to toe down too much. She's already engaged with her ankle before she can action her spur. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I feel that.
You're already engaged right here. So what's gonna happen is, you're already at max engagement in your stirrups, right? If that leg is supposed to wrap in upper leg, lower leg, heel, shank, rowel, she's already here when she goes to her foot, right? And this is where a lot of you guys are gonna find you are, that are riding too long a stirrup and your horses are dull and lazy.
Right.
You're already going to maximum pressure whenever you go to your rowel. You're riding your horse out of your rowels instead of your calves and your shanks. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So what I would do with something like this is I would say, okay, we have to put a longer, now I'm gonna go to the original way too long spur, far too long, right? I'm gonna go to a spur like this, and she can tell us whether this feels comfortable or not. Without that spur falling off her boot.
I know.
Don't fight too hard.
I will.
All right, so now when she wraps in, do you feel that horse on your shank?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still don't like it though.
I don't like it, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you're still gonna be too long, but
No,
this at least, if you had to ride on this, or say you had a horse that was shorter hearted, do you see how that gives you contact?
Yeah, that gives me a lot more contact.
Okay, so this is too long a stirrup for her, but that longer shank gives her contact. So you guys might run into this if you're a taller person riding a shorter horse.
I think I would like it better if the spur had a little more like drop to it.
Yeah.
Because it could sit like, when you go like this, isn't like, it goes on your rowel and not so much on your shank. Like,
Yeah.
I would like it.
Yep, yep. So that's a good point right there. If you're a longer legged person riding a shorter horse, put something that's got a little bit of a rise to it, that you can get that leg in there, all right? So changing those things, right, those variables, because I couldn't put her in my spur, right, my standard spur with these long stirrups, she probably won't like it.
Let's see.
Let's see. My guess is she's not gonna like it.
I like how these drop off a little harder than other ones.
You should be able to get a lot of shank action on there.
Yeah.
Yep. Maybe you will like it. I don't know.
I like it better.
It's a lot of leverage though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of a little too much.
When you
leverage.
pry, it's a lot.
I don't want kind of as long as the first one, but just a little bit more like arc to it, like
Yep.
one more drop off, like this one.
Yep. So that longer drop is what she's talking about, having a longer drop right there. So there's more shank to sit on, okay? The thing about that is there's gonna be a lot of leverage on a spur like this because there's so much angle right there. If you were riding on a stirrup length, that was perfect for you, right? Because now she's got a lot to push off of.
A lot to push off.
And that's why I like these spurs, because I got a lot of horses that come to me that are down in their bellies, that are flat, that I gotta pull up, all right? So I got a lot of leverage off this type of spur.
I like these spurs.
Good, good. So questions, comments, concerns about that before I drop you in the dirt? All right, does that help, guys? Is that good? Spur neck that curves in versus straight. Great question.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I have any that curve in. Let me see.
Those, a little bit, those do.
Oh yeah.
Not,
Oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah, they do, they do.
Crazy, but.
All right, so she's asking, what about the neck that curves in? So you guys can hopefully see the difference. Straight neck, curved neck. Let me square it up to the camera. There we go. So curved neck, straight neck. Can you guys see the difference there? So for me, a curved neck.
Isn't that for people who really can't get like their toes?
Yeah, so if you have physical limitations that prevent you from turning your ankles out, like this.
Oh, they can see that.
Now move it down. If you have some sort of physical limitation that prevents you from angling your toes out so that you can be specific in where your spur hits, then I'm gonna consider putting a curved spur on you, all right? Putting a curved neck on you. So the problem that I have with it is that, see, if I'm straight on to you guys, do you see how a straight neck pokes in the middle of your heel, right?
Yep.
A curved neck is not gonna poke in the middle of your heel. If this is my heel, right? If I had a curved neck, it's not gonna poke in the middle of my heel, it's gonna poke somewhere else. So it's really hard to apply leverage.
There's all the things.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the little paper's flying away.
It's really hard to apply leverage right there, all right? So I don't want to get a lot of curve in my neck of my spurs, and they were called like equitation spurs, and they were super popular for a long time. But if I have a lot of curve, what's gonna happen is my spur is not gonna hit in the middle of my leg. So I'm not necessarily communicating where I think I am when I put my leg on my horse, right? So if this is my horse's side and I've got my spur right here and I turn my toe out and apply my spur, I'm applying my foot here, but I'm getting action back here. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So my curve is not hitting exactly where I think it is. So I've got to make sure that I want my curve to be slight, right? But it's going to be however much you can't turn your ankle out. And I would encourage people to try to get flexible in those ankles as much as possible, right? But if you can't flex that ankle and get a lot of leverage, then you can put a little curve on, which will let you put your foot a little straighter and still get the same amount of pressure on there.
Yep.
All right? What you have to remember, if you cannot get your leg further back, right? Or I mean, if you can't get your ankle turned out, you have to be very cautious that you don't get your spur too far back.
Right.
You see how if her toe is staying straight, look where her rowel is hitting, way back here, right? So here's where she thinks she's hitting, but here's where she's actually hitting, right? And that's gonna be really hard to get specific buttons. So those of you that have your horses at the trainer, that maybe are riding your horses after your trainer has ridden and they're like, well, get his hip over, and you're like, I can't, he keeps moving his rib cage over. It's because you're not hitting where you think you are. So the less you turn your ankle out, the less flexibility and looseness, like look how loose this leg is, right? The less flexibility you have here, the further back you're gonna hit, right? So in order to hit this horse's shoulder button, Macy's gonna have to pull her leg up here. Ooh, right? So that makes it, I'll pull this up so you can see. With her leg like that, this is way out of line of her hip.
It hurts right here.
Yep, that's way out of line. And it's really hard for her to balance like that. So getting your toe turned out lets you keep your leg straight up and down underneath of you. All right, because now she can go shoulder, body, hip. Right, in that order. Yep, there's his hip. Yep. So we want that shoulder, body, hip. And what would happen is maybe you're going to your body position, but because your leg is not turned out, you're getting a lot of hip back there.
Right.
All right. Or if you try to get your shoulder, because your toe is not turned out, you're getting a lot of body. All right. So keep that in mind when you ride. Turning your toes out, very important, being flexible and loose in these ankles. Okay. So when we want to go back to where we should be with this horse and this rider combination, I'm going to say it's going to be about here. When you adjust stirrups, always make sure you pull the top, pull it back through the bottom, right? Because otherwise you're gonna end up with a big bulge right here, not gonna be good. So this is gonna be where this rider should feel really balanced.
Yeah.
Where she's got lots of effective leg, she's got the ability to go to her shank, ability to go to her route.
Yep.
Okay?
Feels good.
Very good, very good. Questions? My pony would be out of there. How to acclimate them to pressure. Yeah, so we're gonna talk about that too. So once I get riding, we'll talk about that, how we get them used to sitting on that spur, how to use it. And that's like, see what I'm saying, where I want a little bit of dullness in my horse? I wanna be able to get entered into his side. If we can't get entered into his side where she's got that spur on, then you go to like flinch your calf on him and he's running sideways. You can't get connected and ride with him through your feet.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're gonna try to get connected and he's gonna be gone already. Right? And that's a bad feeling.
He doesn't move unless we like cluck or like start tapping with the other foot.
Yep. So we want the ability to position out of our feet. If we can't position before the horse is rushing away, shut it down.
Shut it down.
Shut it down. All right. So I'll pick up this mess here.
Are you gonna ride?
Yeah, I'll ride.
Okay.
Just need my spur back. We'll angle this back up.
This spur right here?
Yep.
No,
Can you share where the shoulder, body, and hip button? Yeah, perfect. Yeah, definitely.
where's the what?
Shoulder, body, and hip button should be.
Do you want me to take a video for you when you get on, or do you want me to hop back on?
No, I'll jump up there.
Okay. Hi, Dubs. You're being such a good boy. Can't believe you wait.
He's a lonely dude.
What are you waiting to, mister?
He's trying to talk to his fans.
You say hi to everyone.
Yeah. All right. Yep.
I only got one spur on now.
Do you feel off balance?
I do feel off balance.
Yeah. Whoa.
I have an oversensitive side mare, so I ride in ball spurs. She is also bracy.
Yeah. So that's the problem, right? Like super sensitive but bracy at the same time. Those two things work against each other. Theoretically, you can't be super sensitive and bracy, but those horses find a way to do it, right? They'll find a way. So we'll talk about that too.
Right. I'll grab this from my mom. Okay, let's see here. Gotta turn this around.
All right, so you can see where my leg hits on this horse. Question, yeah.
What would you recommend for a horse that is still sensitive to spurs but knows his job with them?
Still sensitive but knows his job. I'm gonna get something that I can ride on my shanks, okay? So same thing with the mare that's super sensitive but bracy. It's just that she doesn't understand the second part of your spur, right? So remember, we've got a couple buttons out of our hands, right? We've got wide, which is drop your neck. We've got up, which is bring me your chin. And we've got back, which is bring me your shoulders, right? So there's three positions, three buttons out of our horse's head and neck. That's out of our bit. Same deal with my feet. Three positions out of my feet. Right here, riding connected. Right here, sitting on my shank. And then right here, rowling up, right? And you can come a little closer so you can see that, man.
Perfect.
Pardon how dirty my boots are. All right, so right here, sitting on my calves. Right here, sitting on my shank. Right here, sitting on my rowel. All right, see how I roweled up into it, rolled my spurs. And that's from angling my toe down, rolling that spur up into it, okay? So 1, calf, 2, shank, 3, rowel, okay? And see how I started moving his legs. So we wanna get to where you can use your buttons that effectively like that, right? Oh, jeez. All right, so we want to get to where we can get this horse to ride first off our calves. Some of you guys will have a hard time getting here in the first place, where you can put your calves on this horse and he just stays right there, right? So second piece we want to work on is get this horse to ride up on our shanks, right here. Right in there, up on our shanks, right? So when I'm riding my horse, if I was loping around, I want to have this horse up on my shank like this. Okay, I'll come back around. Right here. Walking, we stay right there, miss.
Okay.
So here, legs away, first on my calves. So now I got my calves really close. This might take a while for some of you guys to get where you can just move on your calves. 2 on my shanks. See, this horse didn't change much. I am now firmly, oh, he's like, oh my God, I can't go any forward anymore. I am firmly into his belly with my shanks right here. All right, notice how his legs haven't changed. So now I am entered into his sides, okay? So remember, we're going through this in stages. Number 1, we're out here. This is basic colt stuff. 2, on my calves. This is how I ride just to stay safe and connected to my horse. And 3, on my shanks, right? So now this horse knows that we're gonna do something. He's on my shanks, I'm firmly in his belly, I feel him on my sides, right? So once I'm here, then I can roll my spurs up, and now I expect things to change. See him move his body around? So now that I'm rolling and applying lots of pressure, this horse starts changing his position, right? And I'm setting up for a right lead lope off right here. You guys can see that, right? So I want to be able to go in that order and have that kind of connection to my horse. I'll go straight at you so you can see. I'm right here riding along. Calves on, horse didn't change. Spurs on, right here, now my shanks are on. See him drop his head down, slow his rhythm down, slow his stride down. Notice how he stayed straight. I've got my shanks firmly on this horse, I got my knees off of him, and he is staying straight. Now when I apply pressure, now he changes, okay? That's what we're talking about when we say control of our horse. Notice how, don't need to go to my hand, but now that I'm applying my rowels, look how he changed his position, he shapes up for a right lead, okay? That's what I want. So that's what you need to check with your horses, that you can get in that order. Because I know a lot of you guys are gonna bring your shanks in and that horse is gonna dance sideways like this and leave you behind, all right? So this is leaving me behind. If this horse is now, my calf is on right there, and I can't get any leverage out of him, right? So your mission when you ride is gonna be trying to get your horse to where he can accept some amount of pressure and do nothing. So for those of you guys that have sensitive horses that are moving around and jumping off your feet, your first mission is to get that horse where it sits on your foot and does nothing, all right? So that's gonna be just squeezing your spurs till he does nothing and get out, right? Squeeze my feet till he does nothing and get out, okay? So just that simple, where you can go to your legs, squeeze your feet, stay right there, miss. Go to your legs, squeeze your feet, nothing happens. So right here, go to my legs, squeeze. See how he didn't move? Nothing moved yet until I apply pressure right here. Now things should start moving. You see his back legs come up, all right? That's what I want. See, I did not back these away. Did not back his hinds up. Now we are the elephant sitting on the teacup, right? We are the circus animal, and we are gonna get round, all right? Because what a lot of people don't understand when they ride, it is not about lengthening your horse's stride when you're trying to teach him to be round, okay? I'll say that again so you can understand. We do not want to lengthen this horse's stride in order to be round, okay? So when you think about it, if I'm loping this horse around and he takes his step right here, that is straight with this leg, straight all the way to the ground. If I'm getting good heel-toe landing, this is as far as this leg can reach. So why are we talking about extending our stride, right? Extending my stride would look like this. See how this is long? This is no longer engaged. This horse got long. What we want to do is tighten our horse's stride up, okay? So think about your diagonal pair when you're loping around or jogging around. The diagonal pair has got to be tight. You got to tighten that horse's stride if you want to look good. Whether it's Western pleasure, hunter, jumping, tighten that horse's stride. The way that we extend our strides is we start with a tight stride, all right? So when they said lope your horse with forward motion, it's because those horses were too captured up. So they extended their legs out. If you're already extended out, you can't extend your legs further, right? If I'm already out here, I can't extend my legs furthest as far as they can go. But I could extend my legs out if I was starting from back here. Do you see how that's a prettier front leg when I bring my front leg back underneath of me? If I was right leading around, right? This leg striding, this leg standing, right? This diagonal pair is moving together. So we're gonna bring these legs closer together. This one further underneath of him, this one further underneath my stirrup, tighten my horse's stride. So that gives me the prettier front leg I'm looking for, right? The reason why you guys can't see the definition in your front legs is because your horses are reaching out here, right? Bring this leg under you. Tighten your horses up, okay? We're trying to get these horses to tighten their legs up. So I want him to bring his hinds up into the middle of his body. Keep your front end right here. Step up. See how I can make him step up with his back legs? So I'm gonna say, hey, let's step up. We're gonna come back this way, step up, but don't leave with your front end. So I got contact right here, get round, bring those hinds up, right? That's what my spurs should mean. You see how I've tightened this horse up, right? You can imagine your horse starts out really flat. For some of you guys, they're starting out really hollow, right? This is hollow. You guys are sitting in the valley right here. First, we gotta get that horse flat, then we can elevate it. Do you see how that's tightening the bottom legs, tightening the bottom up? That's making my horse round. Now I'm sitting up on top of the hill. Most of you guys are gonna be sitting in the bottom. Your butts are high, your heads are high, all right? So get that horse where he comes right here first, then start putting this button on. So when you ask me about getting your horse's back up, most of you are sitting down in the valley. First you gotta get it flat, then you gotta get it up, okay? So when we ride our horses, what we wanna do is get them to sit on our feet. So we talked before about pushing ribs around, right? So right here, push this rib this way, get him up on my feet, up on my spurs right here, get up on this side. And I told you guys that I'm not turning loose with this leg when I do that. The reason being is because I want him to get up on this foot, okay? Up on this leg. So I'm always gonna be holding one foot to him. So the cool part about that is when you have a horse that you can hold one side of him to him, he's gonna learn to get dull over there and sit on that shank. That's mission number one, sit on my shanks. Go ahead.
That's the big issue with my mare at the lope. Both front legs are reaching out.
Bingo.
How do you work towards getting the outside front leg to stay back?
So if both front legs are reaching out, what they're not doing is carrying a lot of weight on the outside front, right? If we're like this, we're loping around, and our legs are like this, I'm not carrying much weight up here, right? So that's gonna start with that side pass. Then we're probably gonna do a lot of backing and turning. Everything we can do to stand that horse up and get its weight backed up off this leg, all right? So what I would do in the beginning is I would try to get that leg under control by backing and turning. Back and turn, back and turn. Whether that's a direct turn, right here like this, direct turn across here, so he doesn't push on me and he stays tucked up and back and tight, or an indirect turn, right? Where I'm gonna ask him to cross over with his right front. He doesn't do these yet. A lot of indirect turns right here. Cross over with your right front, he's confused. Oh! Right there, my legs locked up, my shoulders locked up. I'm gonna come right here and say, drop your neck down. Drop your neck down. How many guys have horses that do this? Right? Look how I'm gonna stay until he breaks off. There. Stay till he drops his neck down into my, there. Drop your neck down into my foot. There. See the difference? I'm not chopping in his head and neck to drop it down. I want him to drop his neck off of my leg right here. Come off this leg. Keep my hand wide so he can't get his neck in front of him. Stay right here. Right there. See him come down off my foot. That's what I want. He can't get chopped down because what he's going to try to do is take his neck away from me over here and pick it up in front of him and lock those shoulders, right? So an indirect turn is going to be my next step once I have a lot of rib control, okay? So right here, indirect turn. See how he's not going to pop up as bad now? Because I got that rib stood up where it belongs. There, there. That's what I'm looking for. So indirect turn, okay? Where his neck is facing this way and we're turning him right here. But that would look like back, bring your shoulders to me, indirect. And see, he gets busted with his left front out in front of him, right? You'll see him step behind his left front with this leg right here, okay? So it's gonna be back, indirect, back, indirect, hollow, right? Head and neck popping up, hollow horse. Back, indirect. Woo, windy.
Yeah, it's really windy.
Back, indirect. Back, indirect. Until I feel like this horse starts to round up to me. Right? He's still flipping his head and leaving. I can't get out of this maneuver because he's not getting round yet. Back, indirect. Back, indirect. Better, back. Still heavy up front. Indirect. Back. Indirect. And this is schooling this horse to stay up and back off my feet. When my right spur comes in up by his shoulder, stay up and back off of it. Better. Back. Nope. Indirect. Back. Indirect. Better. Okay? So see how I stayed in that maneuver for quite a while, right? Don't be afraid to stay in there and keep asking your horse to practice. I know he needs lots of those steps in order to figure out where he puts his feet, right? You can imagine all of the head fling and hitting his legs together and getting stuck and not being fluid is simply, I don't know how to move out of that position. I don't know how to get my legs into that next shape, all right? So the only way he's gonna get better at that is to practice, right? I look at that as, if he was a basketball player, that's dribble to the net, stop and shoot, right? So that was back and turn is the same as learning how do you dribble to the net, stop and shoot, right? What's the form? How do you get your feet together to do that? You see how I didn't dictate to him where he had to put his feet. I'm just gonna do lots of them, right? I'm gonna do lots of that maneuver, that's all. And let us know, guys, if it's too windy, we'll go inside.
Yeah, if it's too windy, I'm trying to cover the mic so
Yep, if
it's not super windy.
we can go inside. So right here, turn, much better. See how much more fluid that was? But he's going along now, he walked out, so I gotta go back these shoulders up, turn it around. There he jumped out, so I know he's leaning on his front end, had his weight buried up there. Remember the leg demo? There. That we did the other day where we had to pop off our foot. Nope, can't walk out. Don't walk away. Stay right here. Stay right here with me. Back and turn. Oh, back and turn. Good. It's gonna be thousands of those. Thousands of those. Do you see how I'm not rushing him or getting aggressive with my maneuvers? That's how I'm not gonna create a jumpy, nervous horse, right? I'm not gonna make him hypersensitive to my feet because he knows he can't go anywhere, all right? He knows he's gotta stay right here on my feet, on my spurs. There's nowhere else to go, but I'm not rushing him and beating him up for doing it wrong either. And that's where I see a lot of people get in trouble, is they rush with their feet and they don't give their horse time to think, okay? He's gotta have time to think about what he's doing. So by staying calm out of my legs, staying calm out of my hands, he doesn't think, I'm getting beat up, I gotta make my own way out, right? And you can see when I started, he started to come up, right? He was like, I gotta make my own way out. And he said, I said, no, you're just gonna have to go where I put you, right? There's that head up, little nervousness. I'm gonna say, stay down off my foot, come down there, break off my spur, right there, okay? The next piece that we're gonna start asking for, if we have a lot of rib control, is our hip. And we're gonna start walking with control of our back end, okay? So what I wanna have is I wanna have the ability to just tap my leg. Just this, just tap. Do you wanna get close, Macy, so people see that?
Yep.
So I'm just gonna turn my foot sideways and just tap my leg, and he's gonna walk off, but just tap my calf, tap the flat part of my foot right here, right there, just tap it, okay? Turn that foot really straight and tap that leg. And what that's gonna tell him to do is just calmly move up. Calmly move up and forward. A lot of you guys, you go to set your horses up for a lope off, you might have the ability to put your legs on, You might have the ability to put your spurs into him. He's on my shanks, but now I can't direct his stride or his position from here. So what I want to be able to do is get this horse on my shank on the right side and walk him forward very calmly to the left, right here. This is my setup for my left lead. Right.
Bonnie says, does getting better control of the ribs tighten up the hip control? Thinking back to the August clinic when horses were squirmy.
Yeah, absolutely, right? If they're super squirmy, then you can't ride them in the middle. So this right here, that rib control, as long as you don't have this leg away from him like this, because this is going to teach him to be a wet noodle underneath of you, right? If I just did this, he's going to be a wet noodle, right? He's going to be really hard to ride. What I want to do instead is I want to get my horse where he'll sit on the outside. So when I lateral over, I'll move over so you can see. When I do my rib control move, I'll start over here. When I do my rib control move, I'm going to push him this way onto this leg. All right? So Macy, if you move with me so you can continue seeing this leg. All right? I want everybody to see this leg.
May I stand this way or over there?
You can stay over here.
Okay.
I'm going to move him onto this leg. And you can come really close so they can see my route.
Okay.
Can you see that shank is firmly in his side? Firmly into this horse's belly. Then when I go to trade, I'm going to push, right? And push him back onto that. So now I'm using my rowel. I'm tipping into my stirrup. If I come back across, I'm going to push onto my shank. Right here, push onto my shank. Then rowel, right there. Now we got to step forward, right here. So now I'm going to walk into my left lead position. Right here. Got my right leg firmly into my horse's belly. Open my left hand, tap my left foot, walk straight ahead. My right rein is holding his shoulder in line. I'll loop around so I can walk towards you.
Perfect.
So I'm coming around here. I got my hip on the inside. I got my ribs up on the outside. I got my shoulder in my right hand. And I got him sitting on my right foot. So I'm walking forward. Oh, missed it. Right here. Walk forward into this. I need my horse to be very calm and very relaxed right here. Very calm, very relaxed. You see this position I'm keeping him in? His mane is straight in front of him. His hip is slightly on the inside, but it's slightly on the inside on my shank over here. All right? What that's going to give you the ability to do
Hi, Lynn.
is sit on your shank to set up for a lope off in a class. So now, if you were showing this horse, we're right here, we're walking, they call for a lope, we go like this. I can position this horse up, he waits on my feet right here. So now he's sitting here very calmly, moving in a shape. Do you see that? He didn't speed up, he didn't quicken his stride, he didn't get nervous. He stayed down, nothing came up, nothing popped, nothing got that way, nothing got this way. So moving forward in a shape on my spur, okay? So that's gonna be huge for you guys in the show pen. So if you stay right there, I can back up, set this horse up on my feet, and lope off in a shape. See that horse stayed really straight. My hand stayed in the middle, my horse loped forward to you guys. Forward to you guys. Where some of you are gonna run into, and this is what I said, put your hand down and see what you got, right? So when you put your hand down, you go lope off, what you might find is your horse does not know how to stay straight, all right? And it's gonna look like his right lead. I'll show you. If your horse does not set up on your feet and move this way straight ahead, you're gonna lope off, That was pretty good. He made a lie around.
Yeah, he did.
A little turbo boost to lope off, but pretty good. Go ahead.
What are those Spurs called that you have on? Here, I'm gonna bring you to
The
them.
old Jeremy LaRose special? I don't know.
Yeah, they're like, I don't really know, but you can take a screenshot of them. Some people found them on Harris.
Yep.
And where else? Schneider's maybe?
Maybe.
We're not quite sure what they're called, but I'm sorry, we'll have to do some research.
Yeah.
And figure out, because a lot of people love those, but they are in Harris if you go there and check out their website. But you can screenshot it if you'd like and look for them.
Yep.
If not, we'll look for them and we'll send you it.
We might post a link on the video.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Yeah.
So if you can't find them,
What's that?
Oh, you got them from Harris? Lynn found them from Harris.
Okay, cool.
FG Pro Shop.
Oh yeah, the FG Pro Shop. Yeah. That's where my bit came from too, I think.
Are those the black ones or the stainless steel ones? I don't know. Good question, Lynn. I don't know.
Works, right?
Yep.
Right. So now, do you see how when I lope this horse off, with my hand down in the middle, everything stayed really straight. If anything, my horse went to the outside of his lead rather than the inside. I promise what you guys' horses are gonna do at home, if you decide to put your hand down in the middle and set him up on your feet, because it's what this horse did when I first got him, is he loped off and went like this and fell over. And pretty soon you end up over here, right? It's not because of your turning. You were supposed to be going straight. So these horses are not staying straight between your feet, right? You have to get them to where they can lope and send their legs ahead. So many of our horses go sideways when we lope. Sideways with our hip or sideways with our shoulder. We cannot go that way when we lope off. So that's the really important part about my horse staying between my hands and my feet. See, he thought about it right there.
Yeah, he did.
So I would just correct that. I'd say, whoa, 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 wait a minute. Let's get this over here.
And run me over.
And let's get him off my left leg, right here. And let's say, hey, get square, stand up. So he wants to go severely left. I'm gonna make him go severely right. Then I'm gonna pick a new line. I'm gonna lope up on that line. Right there. I'm gonna lope around. Stop. I'm gonna side pass over for good measure. Pick a new line straight to you guys. Calmly walk forward. Loop up. He tipped over. Fix it. Pick a new line. Calmly move up into my new line. Loop off. Come around. Loping around. Stop. Back. Because he got caught up here, right? Wasn't round for that stop. Push him over. Got a head fling, so he's not round. So I'm squeezing my spurs here. There, he's down. Pick a new line. Move towards you guys. Calmly. Loop up. Good loop off. Much better. That's staying straight between my hands and feet. Much better. Okay? See how he's staying right there? That's what we're talking about, right? What so many of you will find is that your horse wants to go this way. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go like this to compensate for it, right? And I see this all the time. People doing this to lope off. Look at him move his hip. He's like, yeah, I knew this, right? I was really good at this at one point, right? So that is you feeling your horse want to go this way, and instead of just calling the mistake and saying, hey, get up over here so I can sit square and lope off right here, right like that, and my legs drive forward, right? So my legs go ahead of me, okay? Instead of you doing that and just calling the mistake, you're compensating for him at home. Look, you're doing this. You're holding him up over here with your weight and your seat and your hands, okay? Good.
Mine does the opposite. If I kick hip to the left, shoulders fall right.
Yep. So that's also really common. What he's trying to do is stay straight, right? If you can imagine, I'm going right here, and I push my hip over, but my shoulders go left. Does this look straight or bent? Is he canted at all? Because if you change, look, move over, Macy.
So
Look
windy.
how he's straight. He's really straight right here. His hip didn't go anywhere. He didn't get flexible at all, right? So what he's trying to do is stay straight in his body. That's why when we walk forward, I want the ability to put his hip on the inside and then trap him between my right foot and my left hand right here, okay? Do you want to come out of the corner, man?
Yeah.
You're trapped.
I am trapped. He's trapping me.
Go that way. We got you backed into a wall.
Victor said Dubs is so handsome.
Shouldn't you be riding a horse, Victor? All right, so right here, move it up. Got him trapped between my right foot and my left rein, okay? If you don't trap him off your left rein, then you're gonna allow your shoulders to go left. It's gonna look like this. I'm trying to go towards you guys, right? This is not capturing my left shoulder. So you've gotta make sure you bring your left shoulder in line, right here like this. Trap him between your right foot and your left rein. That's gonna make him have to get round. So see how my right rein stays really loose, my right leg stays really soft, my left rein, left leg are solid right here, okay? Left rein, left leg are solid, right is bumping, tapping, keeping everything soft, okay? But the key thing is his legs need to be flying straight. His hip has only got to go a little bit over to lope and lope pretty down the rail. Just slightly over, 3 tracks coming at you, all right? So if you get their hip kicked way over, this is over canted. I do not want my horse to be in a C like this, moving towards you guys. This is not loping down the rail. But this is what you guys are trying to do with your horses, right? And if it's any testament to how flexible I've got this horse, look at that. Right? So right here, this is not what we are going for.
That's not cute.
Right? It's impressive that he can get there, but not what we're going for, right? You want everything flying straight. So make sure you keep his front end and his ears pointed where you're going, right? His shoulders, chest, and head and neck have all got to stay straight. It's just his hip that's got to be kicked over. And you guys, I see it all the time, horses kicked in a C like that. He's just arced up, folded up on a C over here. He's got both of these things going this way. You don't want that. You want like this, slightly over and everything flying straight, okay? The over is the easy part. It's the under that's hard. That's where tapping this leg, holding this one come into play. Got a question?
Yep. What about when you get them so soft that they almost get overshaped into that transition?
Loop back around because I couldn't even.
Oh. Okay. What about when you get them so soft that they almost get overshaped into that transition?
Yep, that's this one. That's what he does to the right versus the left.
You're welcome.
Yep, so that's what he does to the right versus the left. He gets over canted to the right versus the left. So see where I can walk him up? And this is all the bend that I want. If I was loping or a straight rail, if you guys were walking backwards on the fence in front of me, this is all the shape that I want right here. This is how I want this horse loping around. But when I go the other way, look how much hip I have, and I don't ask for much, right? That's my calf on there. But look how hard he's going over there, right? So what I've got to do is I've got to dull this side up a little bit, or I've got to make a wall on this side. So I can do that one of 2 ways, and it kind of depends on the horse, which one you can do. You're going to end up trying both most likely, but what I would do is I would say, okay, I'm going to make a better wall over here, so I'm going to bring this leg in, and I'm going to push his hip back around opposite the lead, away from my lead, okay? Away from my lead, and now I'm going to capture back up and move back forward. And I can keep this leg back a little bit further and hold that hip a little more in line. So see how I'm holding that hip a little more in line? But Mason, if you want to get alongside of me, look how the position of my leg has changed. Look how far back that spur is. Okay? See where I'm maintaining that? That's the baby sit position right there. Okay? That's not going to necessarily fix your problem. So, show him that, Mason. This is Victor that just commented.
He's flying around.
Yeah, that is our resident trainer, world caliber Paso Fino trainer.
Yes, he's a really good trainer.
Very, very good. It's amazing to me being here and working with the Pasos and seeing Victor train how similar horses are trained, right? Different breed, different style of movement. We're both looking for the exact same thing. It's a great team. I've borrowed from him, he's borrowed from me. We've helped each other out. It's been fantastic. So I want my horse to stay between my hands and my feet, right? If he's over canting off this side, I might go back to his ribs on this left side and say, hey, move everything together, right? Move these legs together right here and square everything up so that I can move both of these ends together, because you've got too much softness on your hip and not enough in your shoulder. Right? Too much softness in your hip, not enough in your shoulder. Right? Good.
What would you do on HUD?
On HUD?
That's a horse that likes to get over canted a lot.
Yeah, he over cants. He needs to drive his legs straight forward, right? And not only that, but that horse gets nervous. He's a lot like this one, where he gets worked up and then he just explodes through things, right? So I want to see that horse wait. Why are you laughing?
Just gonna say a lot of walking.
A lot of walking, right? A lot of walking with those spurs in, right here, so that this is not a big deal to him, right? Walking right here. If I feel him relax and come off of it, I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna come back in, reset him, set him back up for that. Right here. I'm gonna loop around. So I just bring my hands over, make that corner, keep in the shape, come around. Then I'll lope off. Right here. Lope off. Now, see that big lope off? That's what HUD does. Right there. Right? Big old powerful explosive lope off. I'm gonna push him around. I'm gonna stay after this until I get the maneuver I want, right? So I'm gonna keep working on this right lead lope off for a second until I get that nice calm down lope off. Nope, still too balled up. If you watch this pole trying to shoot up at me, that's this horse's big problem. So I'm gonna put, there's guys weight in the wrong place. Get your weight off that, get this neck down, stay down, nice and relaxed, come around. Move up, better.
That's better.
Much better. A little distracted, so I'm gonna push him over again. We're gonna try again. This would be my training series on this horse. If I said, you know what? Today I'm gonna come out here and we'll work on his right lead lope off. We'll work on keeping him down, keeping everything round. Right here. Back into nice tipping over again. So I'm gonna call that. Right here. Move him over. He's dull. He's getting flat. There. Flat. There. Come off that foot. Work off my rowel. Come off this. There. Back there. Outside leg on. Neck down. Better. Still popped up. Let him lope around for a second. He's staying down in his neck. He's staying up in his body. Let him practice. Lope around. Stop. Side pass again. This would be my standard training operation with this horse. Set him up. Go straight. Square him back up. Walk straight. Lope off. Nope. Pop his front end. Catch him. Push him over. He's rushing. Wait. Calmly. There. Wait. Lope. Think your way through. Much better. See how I'm making him hold the ground? Take your time. Don't rush. Hold the ground. Good, good. Now pet it. Should get a lick and chew, get a pup. Good.
What would you do for a horse that gets explosive, especially with asking to hit the hip over?
So you gotta do more of it, right? A lot of the times, that's a bigger issue, right? The bigger problem is that your horse is reactive. So he doesn't let you get in and underneath his skin like that, right? This horse used to be the same way. you gotta push his hips around, he'd be exploding up, blowing up, and it'd just be the end of the world. Your hip control is a career move. He's gotta give these to us pretty willingly, all right? If he doesn't give those hips to us, you can't get much done as far as working and driving things up. So you gotta have pretty soft control of this. So when I go to push his hips around, like if he were to blow up, right? The key to it is I'm just holding my foot, all right? I'm just holding and I'm thinking about how quickly do I really want him to move if I was loping? And the answer is not very, right? Not very quick at all. I want him to really take his time across here. So this is a lot closer to the speed that I'd like to see this horse getting off my foot, right? And that's standard pressure right there, the pressure that I like to ride on. Then come back around, and now I have a horse that sits pretty heavy on my right foot, right? That's sitting pretty dull on my right leg. Most of the time, when I see people go to their spurs on their horse, they're digging, grinding, kicking, aggressive, rushing their horse around, all right? That's not the way you want to get these horses done, okay? So I'll do them this way. You'll see them run, right? If you have this, whoops, I lost my complete control of my back end.
You did.
Oh, no. So I untrained my back end, right? Because he overcants. So I don't want a lot of control over that. So I'll get him a little bit softer here. I'll go aggressive, right? This is what you have. You have this horse running around off your feet, blowing up.
Ah!
Right? Slow it down. Don't take his hips away from it, right? Relax, soften, hold your foot, keep his neck to the side, hold your foot, help him out, slow everything down. So when I come back across here, calmly walk up into it and then get out.
And sometimes you just have to like keep your foot on and stay there while they're running around.
Stay. Yep, if they're running, just stay in until he calmly moves, right? Like I stayed in and doled it back up. I got it running and then I doled it back up. Go ahead.
What is this exercise pinpointing?
So we are working on getting our horses between our legs, getting them to accept our feet, right? And hip control, right? Because your guys' horses are most likely gonna run their hips sideways, all right? It's only slightly over that I want my legs to go.
You're welcome.
The rest of the way is up and under this way, okay? So when I take my horses and I apply my right leg, my left leg in this position, I've got my left calf on. That's enough back by his hip to position his hip over. If I were to grind my feet from here, look how he doesn't go any further over, right? I'm grinding my spurs up into him. Got both rowels engaged, horse is round underneath of me. He's going this way though. He's not going that way, right? Most of your horses are too far sideways. Way too far sideways, okay? So right here, coming around right here, like this, just a little bit. Then I roll my feet up into him and get him up, right? The roll of my rowels is up on my feet, okay? Up right here. So when you decide to go to your rowels, right, sit on my shank first, then go to my rowels, that's rolling everything this way to you guys. And most of the time when you go to roll your rowels on your horses, they're gonna go this way. And that's not showable. Not showable at all. Right.
What should come first, hip control or getting the shoulders up?
Shoulders to me. What do you think, Macy?
Don't laugh.
Macy loves a good back end.
I do.
She wants hip control, but for me, I'm gonna go to shoulders, right?
Yeah.
Because I think if I don't have shoulder control, then all the shape that I'm making right here is just piling out the front door, okay? And what's gonna happen is, kind of what you wanna think about, all right? I'll get sideways so you can see. I gotta go off main side, right here. No hip control.
No hip control.
Now back across, because he's falling over. Yeah. So now, if I go to my hips without these standing up, at least to where I can go like this and they come back pretty soft, then he's gonna pile up, all right? So I'm gonna be pushing everything forward, I'm gonna cause a pile up, right? I'm gonna cause a pileup like this. This is what I want, right? I wanna make a pileup. The problem is, I wanna make a pileup right here, where he piles up underneath of me because his shoulders are the wall. If you don't have a hold of his shoulders, then your bit and your chin's gonna be the wall. So you're still gonna have a pileup, it's just gonna happen right here instead, right? You're still gonna cause a pileup, you're still gonna push this forward and shut this down, but you're gonna make a pileup right here. And that's why our horses bow up in their necks. That's why you get this big bulge and bow right here. Because you're causing a pileup, but your horse is staying back off his chin and this piece of his neck instead of his shoulders. So we want to pile that horse up, but it needs to be his shoulders and his back end. Your horses are too long, so it's his back end and his chin. And he piles up, but it piles up here somewhere, right? Does that make sense? Good. That's a good question. So I like shoulders first. I think you gotta have shoulder control first.
Yep.
Yep. Because, and not only that, but like when you start babies, hips are usually a point of contention for horses, right? Horses generally do not like to give their hips up. It's not a very natural movement for them. It's certainly a harder piece to get control of. So I want to have a pretty good handle on my horse before I start going to his back end, right? Because you're going to get some jumping around, right? You're going to get some biting your foot. You're going to get some kicking out at your leg, some bucking around. That's just kind of the nature of the beast, right? Take your time, go slow so he's not reacting, but just one step at a time, right? If all you get is a little bit of step across there, just get out, pet him. So he stays relaxed and calm, because that's gonna decrease your odds of getting hurt through the whole training process, which is really the name of the game. If you get hurt, you can't ride anymore, you can't make any progress. So I would much rather see you take your time and go slow so you don't get hurt. Go ahead.
My sensitive mare is great hip control, but locks her shoulders.
Side pass, open that shoulder up, right? A turn is not necessarily gonna get it, but a side pass will, right? So getting that horse opened up in his front legs, giving you those shoulders together with their hips is really important. Most of the time, what you're gonna feel is your horse is too kicked over and they're not straight in their body, right? I need them to be flexible in their hips. So he's gotta be flexible, flexible right here, all right? This is what I want over, not his body kicked like this. So we tell people all the time, think hockey stick, not banana, right? Not a C. Don't get this, because all you're getting here is a lot hanging out over here, and they hide right here. So what you'll have on this horse, if your horse lopes around in a C like this, you won't feel any contact on your outside leg back by his hip because it's too far over. So this leg will kind of be floating in no man's land, and you won't feel any horse right here either because your leg is kind of floating in no man's land right here. If you had your horse straightened out with his hip kicked over, you'd feel lots of horse on both sides, all right? And I know that because I'm guilty of it too. If you get your horse kinked up like this, you'll feel nothing on the inside, your leg's just kind of sitting in a hole on him, and your outside leg's sitting in a hole because his hip is way too far over. So you can't ride connected to your horse. Get him just slightly arced up, and you'll feel lots of horse right here and lots of horse right here, okay? So that's a good one. That's a good point right there. And if you took nothing else away from that video, that tip right there will help you a ton. If you feel nothing and you can't get your inside leg on because his shoulders are way over here, that's why. You gotta straighten things out, right? Get that outside shoulder gathered up, get your inside hip gathered up, take things from the outside, take things that are kinked up like this and straighten them out. And you'll feel more horse on both sides of your legs, all right? You wanna evenly balance your horse on both sides. If anything, I want my horse leaning a little bit on his outside with his rib cage, because that's easy to ride. Okay. Very good. Very good. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
If you guys have questions, you guys type them up. We have a couple questions on Instagram we need to get to.
Cool.
So let me bring this over to my mom. I'll flip this around then. Okay, it goes this way. Okay.
Tell me where.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good. Awesome. We covered a lot of stuff right there.
Yeah, we did. That was good.
That was a lot. We'll do more videos on it, right? It's confusing. It's going to be new for a lot of your horses. Try it at home. If you get stuck, send us a message, send us a video, send us a question. We can go back over it. We can demo with different horses. We can show you all sorts of different ways to fix your horses at home and get them straightened back out. If you're kinked up, you can't ride them, right? We don't want our legs traveling sideways.
Okay, so some questions we had on Instagram was, what are the must-haves in your show tack box?
In my show tack box.
Windblown.
Gotta have zip ties, electrical tape, scissors, rubber bands, what else?
Vet wrap.
Vet wrap, Banamine. If you guys didn't know, Banamine injectable, you can squirt in their mouth. Same effect.
Oh yeah.
Okay? 10 cc's of Banamine, injectable Banamine. If you pull it in a syringe and you're scared to give shots, you can give Banamine injectable in their mouth. It does the same thing. So those of you guys that have horses that are scared to get poked, so say you had a horse that was colicking or anything like that, Banamine's like the wonder cure. You can give that orally. It's
there he goes. Just before he finishes, can he answer the ball spurs?
The ball spurs, yeah. So I don't like ball spurs because they make horses bracy because you're kind of just clubbing them, right? So it's the same thing as like, they draw back and that horse is gonna brace. So it's really hard to get a horse to get round if you can't go to your rowel. So remember, I got those 3 different steps, right? Calf, shank, rowel. All right, so calf, shank, rowel. So when I have that horse sitting on my shanks, that's where that horse should just stay really balanced in the middle. When I go to my rowels, when that horse should do something. So when you're in a ball spur, that horse is gonna be bracy, right? She's more running away from your calf and your shank than she is your rowel because she braces against your rowel. Does that make sense? So what I'm gonna do for that kind of horse is I'm gonna push her body like that and get him to accept my feet, right? Just hold my feet to him, get her to do nothing, take a breath, puff, relax, and then get out. So if I get on a horse and I wrap my spurs around and I've got my shanks in, right? If Macy was my mare and I bring my shanks in,
sassy.
right? And she's nervous.
No,
Star of the show.
The star of the show. It's so windy.
All right, so if I bring my shanks in and she's tight and nervous, so be tight and nervous. I'm gonna stay, I'm gonna pet her. Good girl, good girl. Until I get that, then I'm out. Good girl, right? Good girl, right there in the neck, good girl.
This is relaxing.
So right here, and then I'm gonna get out, close back up. She's gonna be tight and nervous and tense. Stay, till she softens, get out. Good girl, right? Good girl. Then I close, till she relaxes, then I get out, right? Until I can get on my horse and close my feet and they just stay right there. Then I'll go shanks and rowels and that horse needs to stay tight and then I just pick them right up. Right? That's what we're going for, okay?
Good job.
So get them to where they're not nervous, right? That's the texture of their sides we were talking about. So it's not only like doing things off our feet, but staying soft in the process. And that's what feel out of your legs and your feet is like, right? So we talked yesterday about the feel in your hands. Feel in your legs, feel in your spurs is kind of the same thing. We're going for soft feeling of their rib cage. If you close their legs on your ribs and they're tight and they're tense and it's just bracy, you gotta stay in and just forget about doing a maneuver for now.
Hannah wants to see us work with the horse that's nervous for like whipping and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mean this one?
This one.
You mean, oh yeah, that guy, yeah. So yeah, we definitely will. Could be a bit of an adventure, right? We could just chip away at that together.
Here's the next one.
All right. How do I evaluate the competitiveness of a prospect? So for me,
I think it's how they're made.
yeah.
How they look.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially like what you're going for, because I feel like there's so many different like things to look at. For like a pleasure horse, you look for certain things. For a saddle horse, you look for certain things. I mean, they all have to be well balanced.
Yes.
Yeah, but for pleasure horses, I don't know. You're pretty picky.
I'm very picky. So what I want is, and we'll do an entire segment on picking prospects and confirmation because it's huge. It's everything that you do.
Then we can kind of explain like why we bred barley, you know, and kind of like what we're hoping for. And
yeah, maybe that's what we do. We just pull a bunch of horses out for you guys in the next video, and we'll go over confirmation, how they're made different and how they're made the same, and what we like about each one. Yeah, that'd be really fun. We'll do that because that'll be a good video. But the biggest thing, if you pick nothing else, pick horses that are built uphill. Pick horses that are built uphill, higher in their withers than their hip. If you can find horses like that, they're infinitely easier to show.
Yeah, like Peanut's so hard because she's like so downhill. She's like this.
Yep.
So she's always kind of like running with her friend.
She's built for speed.
Yeah.
Built like a race car.
So you had to take a lot of time to like get her to hold her shoulders back, get up. And That took a long time.
And if you guys have noticed, like, we're having a hard time getting Peanut's neck down and keeping the quality of movement that we want, right? Because if you would consider that her neck and her body's made like this, then in order to be balanced, she's got to pick her neck up here to balance that out, right? So in order to be balanced, we'd love to see those withers come up. But she's kind of built like this. So having that horse built downhill to begin with, she's gonna have to hold her neck up just a little bit to keep that balanced. So we want to get her to where she can be even. Maybe put some platform shoes on her.
Huh?
Some platform shoes on her.
Yeah, I was thinking about like some high heels or something for her.
High heels would be great. Yeah, yeah.
And then my horse will move shoulders over at the walk and jog, but sticky at the lope. Exercises for this.
So moving your shoulders at a lope, remember that you really can't, if you're going right lead, you cannot move your shoulders left. Make sense? You're going right lead, you can't move your shoulders that way. Right? A horse can't make that move very easily. So you're loping along like here, he can't go like this.
No.
He'd have to swap leads.
Wait.
So the only place you're gonna move your shoulders from a right lead is to the left, or the right.
Unless you're like counter-cantering.
Yeah.
You could, yeah.
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 But you're not moving your shoulder, you're moving your hip.
No, you can kind of move your shoulders a little bit.
Can't.
No, because you can kind of make them stand on the outside front.
You're not moving your shoulder though. You're still getting everything swing around this way.
But you're making them hold the ground longer.
Still hip around that way.
You could technically say that.
Can't move your shoulder.
shoulder.
Can't move your shoulder. So remember, the only way you can move your shoulder is to the lead you're going, right?
Right.
Loping right lead can only move my shoulder to the right.
Where do you want to go?
In order to stay on the right lead. So if your horse is sticky, you got to think what you don't have control of is your left rein, your left shoulder slowing it down. Because I want to rock his weight back and then move everything with my foot.
Yes, I mean some horses move their shoulders by like dragging you with your outside front to a wall or something.
Yep.
That's kind of the only way they could move their shoulders.
Just leaking out.
He's trying to eat me.
Leaking out. I know, he's busy. Leaking out, right? So if he's leaking that way and I'm trying to turn that way, I'm not going to make the turn.
Right.
So I'm going to be making a giant circle instead of making the turn. So what I would do with that horse is I would just stop, back, turn, and lope back off.
Yep.
To get control of this side.
Or side passing helps too.
Yep. And then get control of the other side by doing the same thing. Stop, back, turn left, and lope back off. Yep.
I know this mirror image is hard.
Oh yeah. Doing left and right. It's right and left.
So it'd be this would be right, and this would be left. For
Yeah.
What they're looking.
Yeah, remember this is mirrored
Yeah,
now
this is
because we're reading the comments.
Yeah.
To be confusing.
Where do you want to go?
He's got grass.
I know.
All right, what else we got?
He's just so happy.
Love it, thanks so much. Awesome, very good.
So happy.
Maybe not a video of him. Well, of course we're gonna do a video. If we're gonna blow a horse up, we're definitely gonna do it live. We're gonna freak one out. It's absolutely gonna be live. You have more questions?
Oh no, that was it. Another one was
Awesome.
if Marley was confirmed, but
Okay,
we talked about that already.
awesome. Hi,
And
Grace.
then the person who won the giveaway, we did that at the beginning, so congratulations.
Dawn.
Yep, and then
Yes.
if you didn't, I don't think I saw her in here, so.
Okay. We'll
um,
tag her after this video.
Yep.
Yep.
And if you guys have any other questions, just
Feel free to send them out.
Yep.
Remember to spread the word. We do this for you guys. We're gonna be here every day, minus yesterday.
That was his fault.
We did the Q&A.
We did do the Q&A.
If I can't be here riding, then I'm gonna be doing the Q&A. These horses gotta have time off every now and then.
So windy.
Yeah. So we'll be here every day through the quarantine, helping you guys out, giving you guys a preview of what we do here. Check us out on Patreon,
Yes.
www.patreon.com/LSHlive. That's where we're at. That's where all of our videos are. These videos will stay on Facebook and YouTube for a little while. And then they're going to be found on the Patreon site. So thank you so much for tuning in today, guys.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you in the next one. We love you guys. Take care. Be safe. We'll try not to blow away.
He's gonna